Activity starts now. Three, two, one.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us?
Putting a dip in your hip, a glide in your stride. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe, with shows throughout the week. Everything you want, everything you could need. From the paranormal to the supernatural, from the spiritual to the unknown, from emotions to comedy. You can find us at Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and so much more. This is R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
Oh, good evening, everybody. Welcome in. Hello, Tammy. Hello, Lee. Hello, Hitman. Hi, Melissa. Welcome to True Crime Mysteries Beyond the Scenes. I am your host for this evening, Joni Skinner. And if you've not been with us before, welcome. We are streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and maybe Twitter. I think Hitman, Twitter too, and soon to be TikTok. So that's coming as well. So welcome, happy fall, everybody. I hope our weather went extremely from 80 to 50 to 40. So we missed fall. So we've gone from no hoodies to jackets. Hi, Linda. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the show. I hope everybody's having a great week. I know it's been hectic because 2 weeks ago, Keith and I talked about it on the Otter's Den, and we knew October would be a little bit chaotic, at least from the heavens wise, planetorial wise, astrologically wise. So we've got the eclipse coming up. So if you don't have anything to do following my show this evening at 8 p.m. Eastern, please join me with Keith on the Otter's Den here on RNN, and we will go over the eclipse. That is Saturday. The eclipse is coming Saturday. We're already in the eclipse energy. As you know, 2 weeks ago, I said to Keith on his show, I don't know how I can sugarcoat what's coming up, because I'm a Libra, so I sugarcoat everything. I don't like to see nasty squares. And this particular square actually just played out in front of us all over the weekend with Israel. So we saw it. We are in that square until about Wednesday. Please, that's right. As Hitman said, please hit the share button. Please hit the like button and also notifications. So I'm on here every Monday evening at 7 p.m. for True Crime, where we look at mysteries. We also look at missing person cases, cold cases. We look at, for example, this evening, we have a segment on the mysterious death of Aaron Carter. Now, I'm going to make a confession. And I even had a daughter that grew up at this time frame who loved the Backstreet Boys. I didn't know who Aaron Carter was. My daughters probably would just be so mad at me for saying that, but I didn't. But my friend, who's a fantastic forensic astrologist, Patricia, she did a deep dive into Aaron Carter's natal chart and his event chart on his untimely death. He was a young man when he passed away. So she has graciously allowed me to share her work, and her work is phenomenal. So you're going to get tonight, after our first missing person segment on the cold case of little Cherrie, another astrologer's viewpoint. instead of always hearing mine. Now, when I looked at Aaron Carter's chart, I had a little bit different take. So there are times that we don't always agree on certain things, but we're allowed to do that because that's how we learn from one another. Oh, that was here. Well, I didn't see that. Well, this is what I think it is. So that's how astrologers work. We all learn from one another. It'll be an interesting take when you hear her work. It's phenomenal. She's an outstanding astrologer. But welcome everybody. The case that we have this evening is actually, and I wouldn't even call this case a cold case, even though it's from 1985. The police are very active with this still to this day. Her mother, Cherrie's little mother, is it Cherrie or Sherry, Lee? Lee asked me, Lee, is it? Lee works with law enforcement as well on cases, had asked me to look at this case. I pronounce it Cherry, but I'm from Kentucky. It could be Sherry. I don't want to mispronounce the little one's name. So this case, her mother is still out and getting on media. This is one of the most famous missing children cases back in the 80s. Now, when we go back in time, we have to remember we didn't have Ring cameras. We didn't have anything back in 1985. If we had somebody suspicious, what we would do is write their license plate number on a piece of paper with a pen. We didn't have phones. There were no cameras. I don't even think there was DNA. No, there wasn't. There was not any DNA technology. It was good old-fashioned police work. So welcome everybody. And I know this evening, as every Monday night, we have clairvoyants that come on the show and they're in the chat. Okay, Tammy thinks it's Sherry pronunciation, but not sure. Okay. Kentuckians pronounce names wrong. It's like, I'm from Kentucky. I don't know. So I'll say Sherry because I trust you, Tammy. We also, in our audience, always have search and rescue people. We have psychics. We have just such an array of talented people that their passion is the missing. And, I don't know any other word to describe the true crime community that has evolved with social media. There are boots on the ground now. And Linda will attest to this. When we had little Charlotte go missing, when we had, when Cavalcante escaped, we had JLR investigates, boots on the ground. It's a whole different media with true crime. It's almost like the weather has a whole different genre with the Storm Chasers and Ryan Hall, y'all. So it's the new way. It's what's going to happen when we hit the age of Aquarius, which Uranus is getting ready to. I mean, we've got like Pluto's going to move into Aquarius. So get ready for everything to be upgraded. Everything's going to be upgraded. This is the new way of media. This is how we get our news. And I like it. I really do like it. I also like AI. I'm using AI like I've never used it before on missing person cases to help me because it's hours of research. Tammy, I know you can attest to this as a search and rescue person. Lee, I know you can attest to this. Anybody that works on cases, the hours that we put in it just to get the proper information. And so when you use AI, I'm finding out that timestamps come up faster. So, I mean, that's where we're headed with Pluto going into Aquarius. And that's going to be, actually, Pluto is stationing to go forward now. So it's gonna stick its toes back into Aquarius and then be in there for 2024. We're out of this mess in this country. So thank God for that. Let's get started. Welcome, everybody. And look who we've got here. Miss Kathy, too. Miss Kathy is with us. We've got Lee. We've got Tammy. Linda is in the house. Welcome, everybody. It's so nice to see everybody. How's everybody's Monday going? Everybody having a good Monday so far? Good. Nobody's answering. It's Monday. I know. So, okay, everybody, let's get started with Cherrie. We'll do Cherrie. We will do Cherrie. And here we go with the Hitman. I agree, Tammy. They did a great job. They did. Wonderful. And welcome, Miss Psychic Lisa. There's Linda. We have a lot of clairvoyance in here. Melissa, I know Melissa is in here as well. And Lee is in here too. And Melissa is also a psychic. Joni, I think you'll be the first astrologer to do Cherrie's chart. I have Cherrie. I haven't seen any. Okay, well, good. Yes, I did do it. It's an interesting chart. You know, I'm going to question a little bit on the time, Lee. The chart, I think, can tell us some more information. And I don't know if anybody, if that's the set time at 4:15 or not. That's the time I used. That's the time that is actually on everything. I'm not sure if that's the proper time. So I might play around with the time a little bit more to see what else I can dig up out of the chart. Now, back when the kids, this is a rural community in Pennsylvania, Cherrie, in Cabot, Pennsylvania. And I think this was one of the very first missing persons children's, one of the first that became known throughout the country, where the word got out, not like it does today, because now it's out on social media within 5 minutes. We know now with Amber Alerts, with everything that's evolved since 1985. But this case has continued. What I love about this particular case when I researched it are the investigators are open to anything. They're open to psychics. They actually had the gals that are called the Psychic Sisters that I'm going to talk about. They weighed in on this case. It's an interesting case, and it's interesting to see that law enforcement has not given up on this missing person case. Now, just to get a little bit of a timeline on her, she was last seen getting off the bus from her elementary school at approximately 4:05 p.m. on February 22nd, 1985. Now, what's interesting about this is there are a couple of red flags that I caught a little bit, not really red flags, but interesting. 3 other students got off with her at the stop. Now, she was approximately 100 to 150 yards along a dirt driveway from her family's residence on Corn Planter Road in Cabot, PA, at the time she disappeared. Now, when she failed to arrive home, her stepfather went looking for her and called the police when they couldn't find her. And you know, from all accounts, and correct me, Lee, if I'm wrong, it was about 15 to 20 minutes. And then another witness stated that she had been outside playing with some other children. Now, she was carrying a blue backpack. She has brown hair, hazel eyes, and she had little Cabbage Patch earmuffs on, blue leg warmers, and little boots without heels. But the kids were out playing before they went home. Now, everybody think back to the 80s, and some of you probably weren't there or were there. Back in the day, vans were not what they are now. They were big. Witnesses stated that a 1976 Dodge van was seen in the area, blue or green, around the disappearance time, with a mural painted on the side. Now, that was very popular back then. I remember vans had all kinds of crap painted on them back in the day, as you can recall. Now, this van supposedly had a snow-capped mountain and a skier painted on both sides of the vehicle. The skier was wearing red and yellow clothing, skiing down a mountain. Now, the police have never been able to connect this van with her disappearance. So, was it possible that they just saw the van, it was in the vicinity, but it's never been connected to her disappearance? Another question I have for law enforcement: if she were playing with a couple of children before she went home up the driveway, where was her backpack? Kids will play, and the first thing that they throw on the ground is their backpack. And then they drag it up the hill. They never wear their backpacks like they're supposed to. Did they find her blue backpack? Has the blue backpack ever been found? That's another question. Now, according to her mother, she was conceived through R.A.P.E. I have to, just because we are on Fluff Tube, I have to spell out certain words. And that her mother, when she was 16, was RAPED'd, and the police did not believe the allegation, and Cherrie's biological father was never charged. She believes, the mother believes, people connected to Cherrie's father may have been involved in her disappearance. The father has maintained his innocence in her case throughout the years. Now, she was legally declared deceased in 1992. So some would say, well, maybe it was for life insurance money, maybe, well, no. When we do an astrology chart, an event chart, life insurance money shows up in the 8th house. It can also show up in the 2nd house. Little Charlotte, as you all know, who was kidnapped for ransom, her 2nd house was loaded. So it was about money. So when little Charlotte was kidnapped, 2nd house, money, ransom. Now, according to her astrology chart, that's not the case with this little one. They looked for her. They brought in psychics on the case. They did the age, what she would look like now. Let's say she may have been kidnapped and through the trauma doesn't realize that she was even kidnapped. That happens as well. Now, Lee is weighing in and saying she was told by an ambulance driver on a different search that her mom was in a wreck with that van. He transported Cherrie for she had a broken arm. Well, that's interesting, because if that's the case, that's very interesting, isn't it? Interesting tidbits coming through on the case. That's interesting. Her case has never been solved. Numerous detectives have weighed in on this. Like I said, the psychic sisters came in. And let me tell you who the psychic sisters are. This is interesting. They're known as the Vincent sisters. They do not think that she is alive, but they hold out hope for the family. The sisters from Butler County, PA, have been psychic sleuthing for decades and continue to be featured in national television programs, including one that helped the police crack the 2006 murder of Blairsville dentist Dr. John Yelaney. The psychic detective mediums volunteer their services to families of victims and the police. And I love that they volunteer their services. How wonderful. Now, the sisters claim, this is what the psychic sisters said. The psychic sisters, yeah. They have held readings with her family and others, and they think she was taken by a local pedophile from a family with a history of pedophilia. Now, we didn't, again, back in 1985, we didn't have the list that there is now that you can be registered, you know what. She was a tough little girl. She was growing up and fought with the PEDO. The women believe that there were two men involved in her abduction. Now, again, when we look at an astrology chart, and I've shown you guys all the charts and the information. When we see Gemini, when we see Libra, dual signs, when we see something fall in a house that a dual sign represents, that will indicate to us two or even more people were involved. Gemini, the twins, Libra, the two scales are big indicators that more than one person may have been involved in the abduction. They claim that the men have connections to, and there's different areas, and the sisters believe that her remains are buried somewhere in Butler County. And one of the women said, I feel we have a good chance of solving this. We feel this is the right time, and someone is feeling remorse and or guilt. They've held this secret for all these years, and it's eating away. They want to get rid of that off of their chests. Now, again, the police have never stopped searching for her. They have tips coming in. This is there's the psychic headline. There's again the bus. There are the files. The files, there are articles regarding her files. They are huge. The police follow every single lead that are called in, and they feel like no lead is too small. What excellent law enforcement officers. Just reading about them, I was impressed. They're not afraid to go look outside of the box, so to speak, to get any help that they can. And that would be through astrologers, through psychics, at this point, what does it hurt? Absolutely nothing. And I think it's wonderful that law enforcement has an open mind to that. And, without cameras, there's no photographs of the van. The police are saying, there is just no evidence that they have received throughout this entire investigation that showed a van. Now, I will tell you this. There is in her chart, she is right next to a vehicle. Now, is that the school bus or is it the van? That's something that unfortunately I don't know. But she is right next to a vehicle. So that, that gives me a little bit of, about the van, about the abduction, but we just don't know because she's right next to, and I'll show it to you on the chart. They have had other teams of investigators that have come in and looked at her file. Nothing. Her mother still holds out hope. Her mother still, like I said, they still do prayer meetings. They still have vigils. Her mother is still holding out hope after all of these years that she will be found. And I hope so. I mean, to go through all this time and not have a little child. So let's take a look at her chart and let's see what the astrology tells us. I'm still going to play around with this time. There is an interview on social media with her school teacher. And her school teacher spoke about, that was picture day and that the other children were afraid because the class picture was in the hands of the monster that took her. And the children were actually frightened in the classroom, and the teacher had to deal with that. So I would love to get in touch with her and say, hey, do you by chance know what time she actually got off the bus? I don't know why, but I think there's something wrong with this time. I don't know why. Call it intuition. I don't know, but it's that gut feeling. So let's take a look at the chart. And this is for those of you that are new to event and forensic astrology. Ooh, look at this. Lisa's weighing in. What's Lisa weighing in with? I'm seeing someone she knows with a temptation, a puppy or a small animal. Anyone else? So if anyone else picks up on this or has clues, I know Lee, and I know Lee's writing them down. So, absolutely, if you have any intuition, any clues, help us solve these crimes. It's wonderful. There's plenty of psychics and clairvoyants in the chat. Please do. I love it. So, when we look at what we call an event chart, Cherrie will be over at where the number 1 house is marked. That's her. That signifies her. All the way over to the left where the ace, it says AC on there. A 14. 14 will give us mileage. Mileage. You know, Keith, that's funny you said that because your planet, Doug, Uranus, is down there by train tracks. That could be train tracks. By a ball field. That would be there are train tracks. It would be near a ball field where kids play, a playground, a ball field. So you picked up what's in the chart, Sir Keith, train tracks. Because I don't think there's an airport, Lee, close by. Right? I don't think there's an airport like close to her house. So Uranus can be train tracks. It can be an airport. So, and Melissa says, could have been a stuffed animal dog. Absolutely. Lee, write these down. Something about the rocks they use on train tracks. The rocks. It's with Sagittarius. So that's interesting, Keith. I love this. Thank you, Keith. When we look at, if you guys go to the 4th house where you see the number P, that's Pluto. Pluto and Saturn are right next to each other in the house that denotes the home. That's home. That's roots. That's home. So in Scorpio, Scorpio's the ruler. Something happened around the home or in the home. More than likely, her mother's come out. Her mother, I'm sure, has been cleared. In the home, around the home. So we're going to look at the degrees that we have. 1.4 degrees or 3 degrees. That's the mileage. She's not far from her home. So I'm going to go with in the 4th house. That's the end of the matter. Scorpio represents a sewer, a cistern, something where the water is stagnant. It could be a swamp. I don't know how many swamps are in, I don't know how many swamps were in that area, and Linda says neighbor around the home. There you go, close to the home or in the home. Yes. And Lee says an airport was mentioned before. Uranus is an airport, or it could be an airport near the train tracks. It's anything high up. And train tracks, airport, and it's got to be near some place, Lee, where there's fun, where people have fun, where that would be a golf course. It would be an amusement park. It could be a ball field. It can be a picnic area. It can be any place where people go and have fun in that type of an area. Now, they need to check muddy waters, sewers, stagnant waters, or a cistern, septic tanks near the home. Saturn represents the body. Okay? So it's near the home. I can't get any clearer that this is very, very close to the home. Now, if we go on up to the 5th house, there you see, Keith, there's Uranus. Hits right up to a female. There was a female that knows something. A female knows something. Now, whether a neighbor saw something or somebody may not remember, somebody saw something. Okay. And Tammy weighs in and says, Lee, you saw sewer pipe in your dream. That's amazing. Yes, that's Scorpio. That's 100% Scorpio right there would be a sewer pipe or a cistern or what's a culvert, Renee? I don't know what a culvert. I feel stupid. What's a culvert? Now, Neptune is up in the 6th house. What does Neptune represent to us? Neptune represents, was there deceit involved? Could be. Could that be deceit involved? Or does it have something to do with pictures? Neptune represents pictures, or it can represent deceit was involved. Now we're going to go up to the 7th house, which is the perp. The perp. Okay, and then Keith. Here we go. Lisa's weighing in too. This is wonderful. Thank you, you guys. Is there a water well close by? Lee, I know you're looking at all these. Everybody's psychic here too. It's wonderful. Drainage ditch on the side of the road. I love all my psychic friends. Renee, those are the big pipes that they place for drainage and flooding. Yes. Okay, there you go. Yes. And you know, something about this area, Sagittarius is a fire sign. Is there something in that area too that is like a plant where something is hot, something that gets hot, whether it's like maybe heat is involved, maybe a factory, something where heat would be involved as well in that area in the 5th house. Now, as far as the perp is concerned, she is represented by the sun as well. Okay, he's also represented he could be in the 4th house. Okay. And here's Tammy weighs in. Yes, there is a well Lisa saw across the street. Has that well ever been searched? Has that well ever been searched, Lisa? And little Cherrie is represented up, unfortunately, in the 8th house. And as you guys have seen these charts enough to know that the 8th house can represent the house of death, transformation, transformation. That's the house of Scorpio. That's where the little one, is represented. Now, she is right next to, as you can see, Mercury. That is the vehicle. So, that's the vehicle, is Mercury. Now, in Pisces, that would be blue. A blue vehicle, a blue car. Or could it have been the bus? We just do not know. The most interesting house is the 9th house. Now, the 9th house is telling us that she is outside. She's represented by the moon. You can see the moon shape up there. Outdoors, rustic outdoors. And that, like I said, a female is involved. The 9th house also represents larger vehicles, meaning that's why I think it's the bus. Okay. So here we go with blue car interest. Okay, that's interesting because Pisces would be blue, water, and a car. But then again, we also had the van. So that's why I kind of wanted, that's what the chart told us. So I wanted to play around a little bit with you can do time frames with charts, but I want to know and nail down this time and make sure that that's the time that she, between 4:05 and 4:15, I used 4:15 p.m., that she exited the bus. It seems awful late. Hopefully me and K9 back, Kathy and Melissa will get up to Lee's house soon to look. That would be wonderful. on the go. You guys need a name. All the psychic power and the canines, and wonderful. That would be wonderful. So, I think she's definitely, let's look at the map, girls and boys. Keith, I know Keith is here, but here's the map. This is the map of the area. Now, I'll email this to Lee, and she'll you can, when I email the map on Scribble Maps, you can zoom it out, zoom it back. Now, as we all know, if the map shows a wedged area, the wedge areas are areas of interest, and I went 3 miles out. So within those little wedge areas, that's where I would look, and I would take all of the clues that everybody has come up with and the clues that came from the chart, and just see if there's anything in that area that matches everything that Keith or Melissa and Lisa and Linda, I mean, they're all clairvoyant, that they've come up with, Lee, and it really take all the clues seem to match. And I like the if there aren't train tracks, could it be possibly out further? I don't know. But that's just the information that we've gotten from her map and her chart. And wow. And Lee is wowing. Why are you wowing? Here's Tammy. I'm not psychic. I leave the girls to do that work. So if anybody, follow up, get on YouTube, sit quietly with her picture and the show. And if you have any clues or any information, get with me and I will certainly pass them along. Because I think what okay, here's Tammy. I'm trying to read Tammy too. Joni, you're right on. We've been working on it together, trying to work out agreement, disagreement. I definitely think it was someone on that street. There are some convinced PEDOs close by. Interesting. That's interesting. I'll get you a description, because I don't like to give description. We can extract descriptions via a chart. The 7th house will reveal a perp. I don't like to really do that because of the fact that it could be wrong. So, like I said, I know our whole goal is to find the little one. But, okay, here's Tammy. She's wowing because you're nailing it. Okay, so this apparently matches what you all have been working on. Linda, train tracks get destroyed, torn down. Maybe they were really old tracks, not visible anymore. Exactly. So I will get you guys all of this information. That's wonderful that we can, that this came out to help. And Linda, have they looked into the friends and families of some of the neighbors? Exactly. What if somebody was visiting? What about the blue car of interest? That's a good question. Have they looked? Tammy, yes, it could be wrong, but everything you're hitting on is exactly what we are hitting on. And what I'm doing is completely from the astrology. And the thing about the astrology is it means certain things. So, for example, if something happens in the 4th house, that's a home or near the home. So there's not a whole lot else you can't say anything else about that. The 5th house, that's a place like a ball field. It's places of fun. It's sports stadiums. It's golf. It's parks, where people have fun. So You know, and in this sixth house, if something falls within the sixth house, there's also, it can mean that somebody had been watching her. And there might be some pictures of her. So if you think that, so there could be some pictures that were taken of her, something to do with pictures that somebody knew, somebody was watching. Now, I would like to know about what the other children said, what they said where she went, and I'd also like to know if they ever found the backpack. Because I think the backpack would have been a big clue. Had she been abducted, I believe the backpack would have been left behind. If somebody's grabbing you and you're fighting with them, you're not going to hang on to a backpack. That's my biggest red flag. Where is the backpack? Where could her little backpack be? I don't know. So does anybody else have any other info they would like to weigh in on Cherrie's case? This is wonderful. Again, she went missing in 1985. Oh, there's her picture again. You know, take some time this week if you have some time and look at her picture. And if anybody gets any other bits and pieces of information, not one word is, I don't care if a word sounds silly, because when I would get clues on cases, which I'm starting back up again, you know, with mom passing away and getting back into the swing of things. But I would get words like, I'll give you an example. With Gabby Petito's case, I kept hearing dead man, dead man, dead man. And I thought, well, that's the dumbest clue I've ever had in my life. Dead man. That's a stupid clue. What is dead man? Well, sure enough, Gabby Petito was found, and everywhere around her on the map was named Dead Man. The mountain, the road. There were like 5 or 6 dead man places completely circled around her. So even if you get a weird clue and you're thinking, well, that's crazy, I'm losing my mind, that's not even a clue. It is a clue. Those are your biggest clues when you think that you're working on a case as a clairvoyant. Bam. The funniest clues are going to be your ones that will break a case. Lisa, I started getting uncle as soon as I saw her picture. There's some more info for you, Lisa. Not necessarily hers, but someone. And Linda says, threads of a backpack found in the brush or pricker bushes. And it was a blue backpack, Linda. Do the police have the backpack? I guess not. Shoot. Did the police find, did they look at the crime scene like they do nowadays? Did they do that back in 1985? Surely they did. Were there threads found around where she went missing? Like you said, found in the brush. The kids were playing. If there were pricker bushes around. I used to get stuck in those when I was a kid as well. I mean, those are wonderful clues. You guys have added so much to this case. It's fantastic. It's absolutely wonderful. Wonderful, wonderful. And you know what? It is 7:45. So forensics were. Let's see what Linda. Forensics were nowhere near as accurate as today. The forensics today and the leaps that they are going up with more and more forensics. And wait till Pluto goes into Aquarius. Forensics are going to go off the cuff. We've got the ring cameras now. Wait until that Pluto moves into Aquarius. You're going to watch DNA stuff. You're going to see AI. You're going to see it all explode. It's going to be phenomenal the next 20 years. It's really going to help law enforcement and with DNA and the genealogy with DNA. It's amazing what they can do now. So everybody, thank you for tuning in. We will get to Aaron Carter next week because on the Mondays that I get on with Keith, we get off a couple minutes earlier to sign off so that we can sign back on. But you guys have been wonderful weighing in. I love this. I can't thank you enough. I know Lisa, do you have anything else you want to add to this? This is your case. Anybody has a case that they want me to look at and you want us to bring it on the show, let me know. I'd love to do it and have everybody weigh in because that's how we can solve things. That's how we can solve everything. So if anybody's got any more cases, let me know. It's just amazing. Thank you, Joni and the psychics. They're all psychic. They're all clairvoyants. Miss Kathy is too. I hope you enjoyed it, Kathy. How are you, dear? We love Kathy too. And Melissa, weigh in. Thank you guys so much. So I'll get off of here. Thank you guys for spending your money Monday evening. I'm going to hop back on here at 8 with Sir Keith for the Otter's Den. And just as a little bit, I know it's rough to sit here for 2 hours, so you don't have to sit here and listen to us for 2 hours. But I want to just give you guys a heads up. We are in eclipse season. Eclipse in astrology, it hits on the 14th, but we're in it right now. As you all well know, we've had really, if you feel the chaotic energy, that's what it is. We roll with everything. This particular eclipse is in Libra. It's going to have a lot of relationship issues, relationships, not only with ourselves or with others. This is one of those eclipses where we will have some departures. We will have relationships going down the tubes. So stick around and come back on at 8 because it's really a good thing for Keith and I to go over. I think it's good when we have great energy going on and it's easy and it's not volatile. Keith and I are like, well, blah, blah, blah. But this energy that we've got coming up this week. I want you guys to just roll with a lot of it. We are getting out. The Mars-Pluto is separating, but it's going into the eclipse. So we have to be very, very careful. So next week, because we did run out of time, we will do Aaron Carter. And I will see if Patricia can join us. And she can also talk to us about Aaron Carter because she did such a phenomenal job. And so Linda's got, who do we have here, Linda? We have another, is this a cold case? Janice Pocket from the late 60s. Send me the info. We'll do it. We will highlight it. But everybody, thank you so much. And I will see you guys, if you don't stick around for Keith and I will see you guys next Monday night. And, Gail, let's see what Miss Gail has to say. It's an exciting time for me with eclipse season this year. It's going to be an exciting eclipse. Good for relationships. And also, Tammy's right. Remember to vote for Keith. Go to Keith's Facebook page if you have not done a friend request. He is in the running for the scariest something contest, and he's supposed to get his picture taken with Jason, and he's in the running to win $13,000. So we all got to keep voting for Keith. So Keith Ottersberg, send him a friend request. He's got the links up on his Facebook page, and we will continue to vote for you, Sir Keith. Oh, you're more than welcome, Lee. Yes, cold case. Okay, give me the info, Linda. Everybody can weigh in. We've got plenty. So everybody have a great, okay, here we go. Lisa, thank you. And thank you, Lisa, too, for your psychic abilities as well. They can also go to Cobra Paranormal. Faces of Horror. Thank you, Lisa. Faces of Horror. I couldn't remember what that was. You know, when we get older, we forget things. I have to write down everything. I had to do that when I was younger, too. So it's like, screw it. But Cobra Paranormal, Faces of Horror. Lisa, thank you for weighing in. Thank you so much. It would be great for Keith to win that. It would be wonderful. Oh, here's Keith. Faces of Horror. Yeah, Lisa told us. Thank you. Well, I couldn't remember it. So join us in 10 minutes. Thanks, you guys. Have a great week. Roll with everything this week. We'll make it. We'll make it through there. Be kind to everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great night. And I will see you guys back in about 10 minutes. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for weighing in. Good night.